Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
And we give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite sports icons and athletes. I'm Boom Gonzalez. And in tonight's game plan, we'll break down the finals clash between the Petro Gazz Angels and the Cignal HD Spikers. Plus, we'll take a look at the battle for the bronze as the Creamline Cool Smashers face the Chery Tiggo crossovers in the 2022 PVL Reinforced Conference.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Well, the cast is complete for the 2022 PVL Reinforced Conference Finals. The Cignal HD Spikers still managed to book their ticket despite a 4-set loss against the Petro Gazz Angels, and with that, these two teams will be facing each other in the finals tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. at the Big Dome. Joining us tonight are volleyball analysts Noreen Go and Ish Polvorosa. Thank you and welcome to the game. Exciting times here. Boom and I were just talking a while ago that this has been an unpredictable season to the point that I don't think any of us had predicted that this would be the matchup that we have here in the finals, Noreen.
I totally agree, but that's the beauty now of sports. For me, everything's unpredictable. That's why you're just always at the edge of your seats.
Yeah, especially with the format.
Yeah.
You know, that's the game changer, and the point system, the FIVB point system, that's where it gets a little tricky for a lot of the fans, and even for us. Sometimes you have to compute all of these things.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, it is the defending champions who are in the finals, and the Cignal HD Spikers who've had a couple of attempts and then always come up short, but now finally peaking at the right time, as they say. So let's begin our conversations with that. Petro Gazz Angels, Ish. We've always talked about how they just go about their business, and then now they're in the finals.
Yeah, that's the right phrase for it, no? They're very steady and they know how they play inside the court, and the chemistry is really there. They haven't played, a stagnant type of volleyball. Talagang kung ano yung game nila from their first game up until their last game against Cignal in the semifinal round, ganun pa rin yung pinapakita nila, walang nagbago eh. And that's what you like, especially about the first 7 inside the court.
And Noreen, we've had this narrative for Cignal for a very long time. They always peak at the wrong time. All of a sudden, they're peaking at the right time. And is that what that really stands out in your mind? And of course, what do you see when you see the Cignal team today?
You're happy if you're a Cignal fan on the way they're playing. But we talked about consistency issues. The last game, I would say, they had another problem in that game against Petro Gazz. So our guess is, the fans, they hope that it's the good Cignal that's going to play in the finals and not that Cignal that played against Petro Gazz.
The last couple of conferences, it's been unfortunate also for them from an illness standpoint, an injury standpoint. And finally, they get their chance. They get their crack at the finals. All right. With Petro Gazz, let's talk about the coaching first.
Yeah.
Because they made that change, of course, with Petro Gazz. He's been there around. Rick Fort has been there. But what are your thoughts on that one? And then, of course, Coach Shaq on the other side.
I think for Petro Gazz, especially for Coach Ricafort, he's trying to implement the Asian volleyball style, the faster ones. Yun yung sinasabi nga ni Lindsay van der Weide, she likes playing volleyball here because it's different.
Yeah.
In the Philippines, it's much more faster.
It is, yeah.
And sinusunod niya, tinatry niyang i-implement and i-employ yung gustong gameplay ni Coach Ricafort. And so far, so good for Lindsay van der Weide. Makikita mo, she goes for the combination plays, she goes for the fast sets. Kasi usually, Westerners opt to attack on top of the block.
Correct.
So she can vary her attacks really.
And since we're talking about strategy here, let's talk about the other side, si Coach Shaq, because he has already made a lot of relatively high-profile decisions with regard to his coaching. Of course, Iberia coming off the bench at the start of the conference, it was Esmolina coming off the bench and coming out as a power from the bench. What do you make of what Coach Shaq has done so far?
I think midway through the conference, they decided to play Iberia off the bench, and it worked for them. Remember that huge win against Petrogaz as well in 5 sets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Comeback
the
win.
comeback win.
Yeah.
She said, Tiberia said, we're playing for scraps here. We need to win the remaining games. And that it all started there.
Yeah.
Na she played off the bench.
Yeah.
They won the first 2 sets. And then after that, they got their rhythm. And in the 5th set, they still won the game.
Yeah.
She is Noreen, parang, and we'll talk about her a little later on in more in-depth manner, but she is learning as it goes because she is the youngest of all the reinforcements talking about Thai. All right, let's talk about the setters. Noreen, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on Jel Cayuna versus Janelle Cheng?
Oh, I love this matchup because we can see on paper it's evenly matched.
Yeah.
Both teams, their lineup, all positions are complete. They're all good. So what will stand out? Really, it's the setting, the playmaking as it should. No, because he's a setter. I mean, how will you maximize your players? How will you make sure they shine? You read the opponent's defense. And then you also take risks for me. And that's going to be a big factor in the finals for me.
We have to hear from the setters.
Yeah, we do. I was going to say.
What are your thoughts on
Well,
this one?
actually, I have to commend both of these ladies, no? Both Cayuna and Janelle Cheng in the semifinal round. They're peaking at the right time. They're playing confidently for their teams. Janelle Cheng, you can see she drops a lot of balls and she doesn't even jump.
Yeah.
Yep.
Diba? Parang she just goes for
Effortless.
effort.
Effortless.
She doesn't mind if the liberos defending her. She doesn't mind. And a lot of scores for her doing that. And for Jel Cayuna, in the semifinal round, we saw na she utilized everyone. That's why they won that game against Creamline and they won that game against Chery easily. So talagang sila yung nagpipeak sa mga
And they're
setters.
serving
Yeah.
pa.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah,
serving
serving's
both
good.
of them. Yeah, that's a good point, Boom.
Yeah, see Janelle, it's like when she scores, it feels like parang dali ng volleyball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Para practice
Mga
session.
practice,
Just
parang
landing.
practice lang, 100%. Ish, you actually also brought up the middle block.
yes.
Middle blockers matchup here. And when you look at Cignal, they have a lot of great blockers in general. But then you highlighted one, you also highlighted MJ Phillips from Petro Gazz. Can you tell us a bit about the matchup yet?
Actually, 3 out of 4 dun sa starters ng both of these teams in the finals, no? Nanalo na ng Best Middle Blocker Awards before. So it's a very good matchup. Only MJ Phillips hasn't won an award, but she's playing a really good conference.
Yes,
she's
she
been
is.
consistent all
Her best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all
Best.
throughout.
Right.
And that last game against Cignal, 5 blocks, I guess, or 4 in just 1 set.
Yeah.
So all from her. So that's a statement already. And Remy Palma, number 1 in the conference so far for Petrogaz. On the other side, Doria, if activated, he's also a deadly middle blocker. And of course, we all know Riri Meneses is a very tall middle blocker. So the match-up of all of these middle blockers really will be vital in the next game.
Noreen, si Riri Meneses, again, a bit injured at the start, didn't really play until later on, and it felt like the season of Cignal kind of turned around when she started getting a bit more active. Do you think that there's another level that she can reach to make that matchup more favorable in favor of Cignal?
Definitely, for me, because of also her experience as part of the national team, and she's been playing for quite a while. And it's the finals. For me, there should be a different mindset really going into the finals. You forget everything, all the pain, but you remember what it's like to have a goal and to fight for that goal.
All right. Just to be fair also to Cignal, they missed Riri Meneses at the end of last conference
Yes, they did.
campaign, di ba? Yun din eh.
Right.
Yeah.
Yung injury niya, napakatagal. So,
Tama.
you raise a great point. She's a big equalizer and a big boost for Cignal. But at the end of the day, the reinforced conference may sometimes boil down to the reinforcements.
Yeah.
And right now, you have Lindsay, who's been splendid from start to finish, and then Tai, who is like coming into her own. Ish, I begin with you with this matchup.
You know what? What is interesting about this? They have coaches who have 2 different coaching styles regarding their reinforcements. Tiberia is really coming off the bench in the last 4 or 5 games.
And yet, top scoring.
Yeah, and it worked for them. Hindi lang nag-work ng last game kasi they lost.
Yeah.
And then, for Lindsay van der Weide, she starts right away for Petrogaz. And every time it works. They won a lot of games in the elimination round and in the semifinal round. And she is a very explosive open hitter. They can really rely on her. On the other hand, Tiberia, when it matters the most, they can give the ball to her and she can score. That's what happened in their third set win, that much needed win for them to clinch the final spot. So it's really a toss-up between the two of them. Pero I think right now, in terms of like reliability, I think the fans would go with Lindsey van der Weyde. For now, we'll see if it's gonna be a different story in the finals.
Yeah, and offensive numbers also would show that Steve van der Weyde is the more efficient player, the more offensively impactful one. But then, Noreen, when you look at what Tai is doing, because she actually does contribute in different categories also, and she's on the rise, what type of effort do you feel that she has to make to be able to match up, or at least cancel out the effect of a Van der Weyde, even though it seems really, really difficult?
No, you have to, let's just mention, Petrogas is following their game plan from
Yeah.
the start. I mean, relying a lot on Lindsey van der Weyde. She's been scoring like the 27, 25, and that's a norm for her. For me, Tiberia is more of a role player throughout the conference, but what you like about her is, like Ish said, when she's called upon, like the latter part, she comes off the bench and then she scores the 21. So
Yeah.
she has accepted her role that I can be, I can support my teammates or I can lead. So it's really a toss-up for me in this finals.
All right, we have a quick minute here. Keys to winning, maybe one big one from you, Ish, and one from you, Noreen.
I think for Cignal to win,
Right.
they have to at least minimize the scoring output of Lindsey van der Weyde
Okay.
if they want to.
Okay, depends han. Okay. And
I
Noreen?
want to go
Perfect.
general, really. For me, general, I think it's more of the psyche of both
yeah,
teams. Both teams. It's going to be the biggest factor because you forget about the stats when you're in the finals.
Yeah.
It's the
Right.
grandest stage of PVL right now for both these teams, especially for Cignal, as you talked about their journey. So it has to be how psychologically prepared they are.
And of course, Petrogas, the defending champions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's not
in
their
terms
first
of
time.
psyche,
Not their first time.
sanay na. Yeah, not their first rodeo. All right. After the break, we'll move over to our second matchup, the battle for the bronze. Still, of course, in the PVL. Stay tuned. You're watching the game. Welcome back. You're still watching the game. Creamline and Chery Tiggo may have bowed out of the finals, but both teams are still in contention, of course, for the bronze. And still with us are PVL analysts Noreen Go and Ish Polvorosa. One of the trappings of the format was the fact that the two teams that were number one at the end of the elimination rounds, 1 and 2 actually, undefeated for a long time, are the ones battling for the bronze. Creamline needed to win at least in 3 or 4 sets, right? So just to explain to the audience, no, baka excuse me, hindi pa nila alam. Let's talk about that. The semi-final run of let's start with Creamline and then we'll go to Chery Tiggo. Ish with Creamline first. What happened?
I think with Creamline, their opponents studied them. That's the short of it. I mean,
and they're the most studied team in the PVL, right?
Kasi all throughout the year, not just this conference actually, they've been champions twice this year. So, syempre, a lot of these teams in the conference would wonder, how can we beat them? They're the number 1 team in the country right now. I think they're beatable. Syempre, yun yung mindset nila. So that's what they did. I think they studied them well. And for Creamline, I don't think they did something new in the semi-final round. It's just all the same from the past conferences and in the elimination. Elimination.
Pati yung ginawa nila sa AVC and all that.
That's my personal opinion.
I remember Gia even telling me that we understand that we're the most scouted team.
Yeah, exactly.
And she understands that. Noreen, Chery Tiggo, great start, fizzled out, and what would the reason be?
I think it's pretty much the same story as the conference progressed. Every team is studying the opponents, and you know that for Chery, your main gunner is really Mylene Paat. So all eyes focus on Mylene Paat. She played a spectacular conference, you have to give it to her. But of course, defense will be guarding her, the blockers, the digs, and they kind of became predictable as well for me. And, you know, I mean, sad for them, but they should be proud of their achievement this conference.
Yeah. And, you know, just to touch on Creamline again before we go deep into the matchup again between the two. Noreen, Eliza Valdez had a interesting press conference interview right after the win that felt like a loss in many ways last time around. Talking about the pressure and the way the team dealt with it mentally. What did you see from this Creamline team that really was their downfall, I guess, going into that particular matchup?
Well, I think I heard from the grapevine there are some stories within, and it's normal in every team.
I'm
you know,
sure,
it's a team sport. It's
whether we find out about it or not.
Exactly. I mean, the stories, whether true or not. But I think one thing everybody wants to learn from this, not only Creamline, even the other teams, is how do you deal with these stories? You know, the internal conflicts or whatever, what have you. That's how you go above it, you go past it to be a better team. And it's good because it will constantly push the game, push the teams.
Right. They're a great bounce back team. As you've seen after Ilocos, they won 2 championships after. Okay, let's talk about the matchup. So far, they've given us 2 entertaining games. One in Santa Rosa, one in Phil Sports yesterday. Very good matchups. Ish, what are your thoughts on this bronze medal? Because both teams want to win. Chery has placed 8th in the last 2 conferences, so they want a bronze medal. And then Creamline, syempre, they want to salvage the season with still a medal.
I think the defending champions, the two-time champions this year, Creamline, would still be the heavy favorites for the bronze medal. But Chery Tiggo is almost there. In their first meeting, they lost in 4 sets. Their last game, they lost in 5 sets. So, maybe they're also studying and trying to educate themselves. How are we gonna beat this Creamline team finally? And I think maybe they're on the rise, but it's still up to them how they're gonna play and not gonna be Mylene Paat-centric in their next games.
Noreen, how do you do that, not be Mylene Paat-centric?
I think they need to activate the others because they have talented players. I mean, I feel EJ Laure is underutilized, and she had played well also the entire conference. Zach Karandang. So a lot of great players. And you're hoping
Shaya
for...
played so well yesterday.
Shaya played
Yes,
well.
yes.
And they're hoping Manabat could play longer for Chery. So there are a lot of things could happen if they make it a team sport and not be too predictable.
Noreen-ish, thank you very much for all your thoughts, your candor, and I am excited to see what's going to happen in both the matchups. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So you can catch the finals and the battle for third of the PVL Reinforced Conference. Tune in to One Sports Plus, Cignal Play, and Smart Giga Play for all of that. And after the break, find out how you can be a part of the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 volunteer program. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back to The Game. From the Southeast Asian Games to the Olympics, hardworking volunteers are the heroes behind the scenes of every major sporting event. Now, as we look ahead to the FIBA Basketball World Cup 2023 here in the Philippines, find out how you can be a part of the volunteer program from this report by Marky Bautista.
As the main host nation for the upcoming 2023 FIBA Basketball World Cup, the Philippines has officially opened applications for 500 highly motivated volunteers. This is among the initiatives the Samahang Basketball ng Pilipinas have organized in preparation for one of the biggest basketball events. There are several functional areas that the volunteers can assist in, but the main focus is to make sure all participating teams are well taken care of.
USA, for example, qualifies. And we all know that the head coach of Team USA is Coach Steve Kerr. So pagdating niyan dito, tapos biglang gusto ni Coach Steve Kerr na may extra practice sila, si coordinator na volunteer, okay, si team attaché, siya yung makikipag-coordinate sa venues team natin, sa transportation team natin, para mangyari yon para sa USA team.
The requirements for applicants are simple. Volunteers must be at least 18 years old or turning 18 by August 1, 2023. They must be fluent in both English and Filipino, but a knowledge of a third foreign language is a plus. They must be fit to render work, confident and comfortable in dealing with stressful situations, fully vaccinated with proof, and must be a Philippine resident.
If you notice, we have a lot of standees outside with QR codes. So all you have to do is scan those QR codes with your phone. It will direct you to a website where you can register. Okay, once you register, you should receive a confirmation email.
Tarpaulins with the Volunteers Program application QR code will also be set up in different sports events across the country, such as the PBA, UAAP, PVL, and the NCAA.
Once that's done, basically we will schedule you already for either an online or a face-to-face interview, and we will see whether the skills and talents that you filled in your application form really matches the requirements of the LOC in its functional areas.
Apart from the Volunteers Program, there are also a variety of other events lined up before the World Cup commences.
And the biggest event, even bigger than the opening of the World Cup in August, is the FIBA World Cup draw, which will be held in Manila, April 29. That's a much bigger event. In fact, we have a big name, and we won't divulge here yet because we have not finalized. We'll have big names in terms of artists that will come over to that draw.
The volunteer applications will be open for as long as it can. Applicants may choose between sports, venues, game services, international relations and protocol, safety and security, FIBA World Cup Congress, and more. Successful applicants will have the benefit of receiving official FIBA World Cup uniforms, meals, accreditation IDs, transportation allowance, and a certificate of participation, which they may add to their resumes.
We shift now to the racetrack as we get highlights from day one of Team Yamaha Motor Philippines' campaign at the 2023 Asian Road Racing Championship Thailand leg. Let's all watch this.
This is free practice 2, no? So, ito yung first day na nakasakay yung mga riders natin sa mga motor nila since nandito yan sa abroad. Ginagawa natin ngayon na nag-tune tayo, chine-check natin. Una, makuha natin yung best ideal lap times natin. And then, nag-check tayo, nagte-test tayo ng ibang combination na sprockets, na setting, para mahanap natin ano yung ideal best para sa riders natin.
Okay naman po, bali, nag-adjust na po kami ng konting adjustment sa motor. Sumakto naman po yung practice 1 namin na-apply namin yung practice 2. Which is na-improve pa namin yung lap time namin sa practice 2.
Si Yamaha po, meron po kami scheduled training po dyan. Ako at yung teammate ko, nagpapalitan kami ng knowledge based on our experience. Pakondisyon para maging consistent yung mga lap na ginagawa namin. And ngayon, yung bike naman po yung ginagawa. May konting pagbabago ang gagawin para sa laban bukas.
Try tayo 42 ba? 42?
Marami pa pala kami mas pwede pang gawin. Tsaka kanina sa practice 1, practice 2, ang laki pang adjustment na ginagawa namin. Pero maganda na yun, pinakita namin result.
They are performing at their best. For this last round, we can assure you that we will be having a good performance. And hopefully, we will get some podiums for us to bring home in the Philippines.
Free practice pa lang ngayon eh. So, inobserbahan ngayon nila yun. Nag-testing sila ng mga iba-ibang setup ng motor. Ngayong araw yun parang testing. So, bukas malalaman na natin yan. Pero ngayon, masaya naman dahil kinusap ko kanina yung mga karerista natin. Sabi, confident sila. Nakita ko din naman kasi nasa harapan sila ng practice eh. So, kita ko na confident yung mga rider natin. Tsaka, sobrang tindi.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Boom Gonzalez.
And I'm Paulo Del Rosario. This has been The Game.